Hi everyone, welcome to TNT. Tuesday might even still be Boxing Day wherever you are in the world, but I hope you had good Christmas celebrations if you celebrate Christmas. If you didn't, hope you've coped with all the extra holiday traffic. Certainly, I can tell you here on the island it's been very busy indeed, and I think it's going to be a busy week leading up to the celebrations on New Year's Eve. Thanks for dropping in on this Tuesday morning for TNT. Let's sort of keep a fairly relaxed vibe this week. Try and figure out what is actually happening on New Year's Eve because there's a lot of conflicting stories. And we start with this one, City, a top 10 New Year's Eve party spot. This is speaking about Bangkok, and the story from the Bangkok Post. Bangkok's been named among the top 10 destinations in the world to celebrate New Year's Eve this year as it booms back to life after the COVID-19 pandemic, according to a CNN report. Now, before you get all upset, I understand you might like some of CNN's political coverage, but I think we can all agree that they do some very good travel pieces. So let's go to the source and to CNN, 10 great places to spend New Year's Eve. Let's try and find out where they are. Sydney seems to be number 1. Then we've got Taipei in Taiwan. And number 3 is Bangkok. We'll come back to that later. Then we've got Dubai, Cape Town, Rome in Italy. We've got London, stodgy old London. And then we've got Rio de Janeiro, New York. And, one more, Las Vegas. So that's all the places that CNN say are the best top 10 places in the world to celebrate New Year's Eve. So let's see what it says about Bangkok. Bangkok often tops roundup lists of Asia's best nightlife cities, but of course it's a natural place to ring in the new year if you like crowds, bright lights, noise and revelry. Spelt the American way. And we've got Catch an Amazing Fireworks Show at Icon Siam. That will probably be where some of the best fireworks will be this year. In fact, if you've got any view over the Chao Phraya, you're going to see some amazing fireworks. But will we? Are the fireworks still on? A lot of questions about that. And down the bottom there in that article it says, if the revelry becomes too much, get some calming down time on January the 1st at a temple, such as Wat Po, with its reclining Buddha. I think that'll be pretty busy on January the 1st as well. Not sure if you're going to get much calm there. But moving on to our next story today, and we're trying to figure out what is happening with New Year's Eve around the country. This story from the PattayaNews.com. Pattaya New Year countdown to go ahead with special fireworks on December the 31st. Well, this is contrary to a story last week, but good news if you're heading to Pattaya. It seems that Pattaya authorities have changed their mind and will go ahead with a fireworks display at the New York countdown celebration on December the 31st. It says there'll be national level fireworks displays. National level, but only on December the 1st in Pattaya and Koh Lan. The fireworks will be prohibited only from December the 29th to the 30th. So those planned fireworks that were going to be held in the days leading up to New Year's Eve won't be held, according to this story on the Pattaya News. Apart from this, the authorities say the countdown event in Pattaya will feature concerts and other activities, such as shopping and eating as usual. Yes, I think we'll do plenty of shopping and eating. To another version of what's happening on New Year's Eve, the PM calls for New Year's Eve caution, event organisers told to take extra care. So I think this really is in terms of safety, although there seems to be code in a lot of these announcements. People can decide for themselves whether to organise New Year's Eve's events, but organisers should exercise maximum precaution, according to the PM, Prayut Chan-o-cha. He said there was no special policy regarding activities related to New Year this coming weekend. Some organisers have recently announced cancellations or modifications to the New Year celebrations. Now, they haven't really said specifically why. I think this next paragraph might clarify things just a little bit. On December the 19th, the Secretary-General of the Office of the Judiciary issued guidelines for agencies under the office to cancel celebratory New Year events and instead hold merit-making ceremonies to wish Her Royal Highness, who's in hospital after collapsing due to a heart condition on December the 14th, a speedy recovery. So I think a lot of authorities have perhaps been a bit concerned about all the possible revelry on New Year's Eve. It's a traditional happy time of the year. A lot of people go out to party, and I think they were worried that it wasn't a good look when viewed from the point of view of the palace, and they were trying to tone things down a bit. But there seems to have been a little bit of a shift in that situation over the past week. And then in the middle there, the president of the Khao San Road Business Association said authorities had asked for New Year celebrations this year to be toned down to show respect to His Majesty the King's eldest daughter. So I think that really has been the tone. There's been nothing official come from above, but a lot of authorities just thinking that it would be the right thing to do to tone down celebrations. But my tip is that I think in at least all the major tourism locations that the New Year celebrations will be on, well, not as usual, but really for the first time over the past 3 years. And thanks to our sponsor, 5 Star Marine, our ongoing sponsor, as we approach our 100th show. So thank you to Sean and his team. If you're down in Phuket, heading out to those islands, then please check out 5 Star Marine. There's a link in the description. You're watching the TNT program, and a bit more royal news, and Thailand's king and queen recover from COVID-19. So if this story was reported about 2 years ago, it would have been major news, but really everybody's going, oh well, I hope they're okay. Next. So moving on with this story, Thailand's king and queen, who were diagnosed with COVID-19 on December the 17th, now tested negative for the virus and can resume their royal duties. So best wishes to their majesties, but they're not the only ones that have been a little bit under the weather lately. Princess Siradorn advised to ease up on her royal duties, and Her Royal Highness Princess Siradorn has been advised by her doctors to reduce her royal duties for a while after they diagnosed her with an irregular heartbeat. In the second paragraph, they say that this form of irregular heartbeat is a temporary condition and it will disappear, according to the statement. And she was hospitalised at King Chulalongkorn Memorial Hospital between November the 22nd and December the 4th. And certainly, no matter what you might think of the royal family in Thailand, Princess Siradorn is one of the hardest working royals. She used to average like 3 to 4 engagements a day. And you might say, well, she's got a nice car and she's privileged and using taxpayers' money, but at least she was putting back and giving pleasure to a lot of people by turning up at their functions around the country. So best wishes to Princess Siradorn. Another story relating to yesterday from Phuket-go.com, the 18th anniversary of the 2004 Boxing Day tsunami in Phuket. The anniversary was yesterday, and some ceremonies were held along the Andaman coast, but principally in Phuket. And we note that just a minute before 8 a.m, depending on where you were along the coast, the first wave plunged into the Thai Andaman coastline, brimming and busy with local and foreign tourists. That's back on December the 26th in 2004. And the story says along Phuket's west coast, some areas were affected more than others. And that's true because the different layout of the seabed leading up to the west coast determined how badly the wave would affect. So those coastlines with the long, slow, shallow approach were affected the worst, particularly in a place like Khao Lak, where the water went up to 1 kilometre inland because it had such a slow, shallow approach to the shoreline. Other areas, say in the northern part of Phuket, which has a much steeper shoreline, it took a lot of energy out of the waves and it didn't wash so far inland. 18 years later, and religious ceremonies were held at the Phuket Tsunami Memorial Wall, situated in the far north of the island, remembering victims of the Boxing Day tsunami, also known as the Indian Ocean tsunami or the Asian tsunami. And victims from 35 countries down the bottom there have their names immortalised on the memorial wall. Their bodies were buried behind the wall. So the 18th anniversary of the tsunami yesterday. Let's go to our next story today, which we alluded to a little bit earlier, and this from the Voice of America, VOA. Thailand prays for miracle for gravely ill princess. And just going to that top paragraph, Thai royals, celebrities and members of the public have led prayers for Her Royal Highness, the oldest child of His Majesty the King, who remains gravely ill after collapsing on December the 14th while training her dog for a contest that was happening up in Nakhon Ratchasima. And down the bottom, she was hospitalised after losing consciousness, and the latest situation is that she is stable to some extent. What does that mean? Well, doctors have been giving her medication to help sustain the functions of her heart, lungs and kidney. So I think we can understand that she is indeed quite gravely ill, and I think next Monday or Tuesday we'll probably get a major announcement about that particular situation. Let's just go to a bit more in that story. The princess is one of King Vajiralongkorn's 3 children who have formal titles aligning her under the 1924 Palace Law of Succession, although no heir has been formally named. So I think that helps paint the severity of the situation where the number one heir to the throne has been named in that particular story as gravely ill. A little bit more down the bottom of that, a sense of shock and sadness has rippled across royalist Thais who have long lauded Princess Ongpa, that's her nickname, for her public work and her down-to-earth image, which has included a role as a public prosecutor in some high-profile Thai criminal cases. I also note that she at one stage was the ambassador to Austria as well. Very highly qualified woman, and obviously being groomed as a possible heir to the Thai throne. And in the middle there, her father made her Chief of Staff in the King's Bodyguard Command in 2021, indicating her central role in the palace structure. And there she is, the princess meeting the people, and very popular with the Thais, keeping a relatively low profile, but now sadly gravely ill, according to that story from Voice of America. You're watching the TNT program. Might still be Boxing Day where you are, but here in Thailand it's Tuesday, and that sun is belting through the window at the moment, hitting me on the side of the face. A lot of light coming in as I squint to watch the screen. Let's go to some news. This one sort of from outside the country, but about Thailand, from the Bangkok Post, saying that India says arrivals from Thailand must show a negative COVID test. Oh, we thought this was all over, but no, it looks like if you're heading to India, and remember a lot of Indians are coming to Thailand at the moment, the second most numerous nationality currently visiting the country, India will require negative COVID-19 test results for travellers arriving from Thailand, China, Japan, South Korea and Hong Kong. This according to the country's health minister. So all those Indian tourists who are heading over to Thailand, no COVID test when you get here, but you go back to India, you will have to do a test. And what happens if you are negative or positive? Passengers from those countries, this is the second paragraph, would be put under quarantine if they showed symptoms of COVID-19 or tested positive, and passengers from the countries in question will have to declare their health status by logging into the Air Suvidha website. India, which has reported the second highest number of confirmed COVID cases in the world, that situation might change very soon, over the past 3 years will start randomly testing 2% of international passengers arriving at its airports. So a bit of back to the future there in India at the moment. We're not quite out of this COVID mess yet. Hopefully you're enjoying your silly season. Maybe you're getting a bit of a chance to relax. Or maybe you're still working, but hopefully it's a bit quieter. Certainly for all the people working in hospitality here in Phuket, they're having a very busy week indeed, and the businesses, I'm sure, are thoroughly enjoying that situation. And the next couple of days we'll try and see what you're doing for New Year, and we'll also do a few top 10s and some of the main stories from the past year. But as a very noisy motorbike whips past, I thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I do look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.